fun, silly messages. That may not be my thing. So I'm not going to do what Carolina does because that's not my thing. But I am really good at memes. And so maybe that's what I do. Like you have to lean into what you're good at and remember where you're starting from. Some people naturally start with a big network, for example. And so when they do find, they've accidentally made themselves an authority because they naturally share. Then for our introverts who tend not to share, you have a bigger hill to climb, which is okay. But you're starting at a different spot. So when you have to build that authority and get used to posting on a consistent basis, it's going to take you a little bit longer. That's what I had to do.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.
The Carol.
No donkey today, John?
I don't know where he went. I think well, behind me is behind me is like a little bit of a river, and I think the donkey just kind of walked down the river a little bit. The best was on a call with John Gouch, who's our acting general manager, like last week. There was some noise coming from like a speaker, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Honestly, it could be a car selling propane, or telling me about a luchador contest, or selling watermelons or fish. Like, I don't even know. It's like a thing here where people drive cars and kids drive motorcycles with speakers on the back. That's like their advertisements. Yeah. And I have no idea what they're ever saying. But I mean, on any given time, you're just going to get blasted by an advertisement for like watermelons.
Yes. The best part is that each one has their own specific little jingle. Yeah, their song, their jingle. Absolutely. And it's like, oh my God, the tamale guy is coming by. Like you run outside and you buy your tamales. Or it's like, oh, the guy with the really good like dirt, like the potting dirt for your plants indoors. Oh my God, let's go buy some dirt. Like literally, like there's a guy for everything, and they each have their own jingle. Guy. It's very creative.
The propane one is the loudest because it sounds like a party. It sounds like they're like advertising a festival. And it's like, nah, it's the damn propane guy again. Like, how much propane do people need? This dude is here every day.
The more I hear about Mexico, the more I'm convinced that I'm probably Mexican.
I was gonna say you would make a killing, Ren. Like just write jingles for all the men that sell their stuff on the street.
I really got to get down there. I'm missing some major life opportunities, and because of the Online Trainer Academy, I can do my job from anywhere.
Correct.
Oh wait, I don't have my Online Trainer Academy jingle pitch papers in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to. I gotta step away. You guys carry the show while I get my papers. Oh man,
the Online Trainer Academy,
narrowly averting a tragedy.
The leading course and certification and business development program for anybody looking to start or grow an online training business. That's right, folks. You can find out more at onlinetrainer.com/academy. Get on it.
He just did a little bit for you, Red.
Okay, thank you so much.
Not a good ad too. I tried to put on my midnight DJ voice, but it was not a good. It
wasn't good.
No, I kind of fumbled it.
You need to bring like the propane guy energy to the mix. That's the kind of energy that we need for these ads.
More of a morning show.
Hey, come on out and check out the Online Training Academy.
Pásele, llévelo. El Online Trainer Academy, llévelo, pásele, señorita.
This is the best. I want you to never not do that on this show. That's awesome. It's so ironic. I just always forget that Keto's Mexican. She does Mexican.
What she just sounded like is basically my life. Kind of
the soundtrack of Jonathan's life right now.
throw in a couple dirty back of a pickup truck churros and tetanus shots, and like you got my life.
You got it. That's how you know you made it, man. When you can do that out of choice and not out of necessity, that's how you know you made it. That's the difference.
Right.
The part of it that does make sense to me, though, is like the economics of the watermelon truck is something I'll never understand. These watermelons are like 7 cents each. Like there is one, usually 2 dudes with a watermelon truck, and there are multiple watermelon trucks in town.
Right.
So like they haven't even cornered the market in the town. Spending their entire day sitting outside a watermelon truck selling watermelons for like 7 cents.
Right.
Like the economics of that, I just do not understand.
Can't they just do it for the joy, Jonathan?
Well, it's like the used bookstore in like the downtown of your city. It's like, how are you possibly funding the rent?
Yeah, the rent alone
and salaries and like and supply costs selling 75-cent used paperbacks. Like how?
Right.
That has always been a mystery to me. Honestly, like I do not get it. It does not compute. I don't know.
Those are like the HGTV people on when they're finding a house, right? Husband's thing says something like colors Dr. Seuss characters, and the wife says something like makes bracelets out of cut hair. And budget $1.75 million.
Yes. It's like what? How much money? What? I'm doing
Which
what?
one of you was married to one of the past wives of Michael Jordan here?
Right. Right. I see these job titles, and these economics don't add up to a $1.75 million budget. It's just pure trash, absolute trash. I was going to say something, but it totally lost my mind. But I'm just happy to be here. So Jonathan's got no donkey to recap. The donkey's lost. Keto no 7:20 a.m. wake ups anymore. The squirrel's gone. Amber's rocking the frames today. I'm a bit intimidated. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little intimidating. Yeah, I feel like I need to be like on my best behavior today for the show. Yeah, she's got the finger.
I tried to mansplain something to her earlier this morning. I couldn't.
Oh
I
no,
stopped
John.
In my tracks.
No, Jonathan. Don't
in my tracks.
Just stop. Like, what's your learning curve on the mansplaining, Jonathan? Because I feel like this pops up repetitively.
Okay, hold on. Okay, no, I have something totally relevant. So yesterday, a memory popped up on my Facebook from 3 years ago when we were in Dominican Republic, and it's a picture of Jonathan and I, and the caption says, "This will go down in history as the day that Jonathan Goodman tried to mansplain nipples to me."
What is that?
I don't remember what we were talking about, but the
really
caption says it all. So there it is. I should have shared it. I'm gonna go digging it up.
Oh my gosh! If that makes its way into the show notes, I won't be upset about it.
The only thing that I can think about that might have been is Allison and I were in the back of the car in Vancouver. So my brother's gay. He's married to an awesome man, and we had an entire conversation with them. And they were trying to understand what the attraction is to breasts. And they're just like, so what? Like, what do you do with them? Do you like twist it? Like, do you like honk it? Like, what do you like, why? Like, I don't get it.
Twisted, poppin', double lock it.
Oh man, we've turned memories into a ShamWow commercial here on the Online Trader Show.
That's right.
Turn it into a product infomercial. Squeeze it, twist it, pull it, suck it, flip it.
They just could not understand.
Amber is horrified. Amber is horrified. We're gonna give her a seizure right now. She's so embarrassed for us.
Her glasses just fogged up.
That's the only thing I can think about with trying to mansplain nipples to you. I don't know what we were talking about.
What an interesting conversation. What a unique topic.
You know what? Okay, guys, and I'm not even kidding. Jeff is in the other room, and he's right now in a call with some minister, cabinet member, cabinet minister member. And so, if this is the background conversation that they're listening in as he's having his call, this is amazing.
So
basically,
I regret nothing.
Basically, what you're saying is that everybody in your household is on very important phone calls right now.
Yeah, except me. I'm just messing around here. I don't know.
No, we're essential.
Right.
Right,
We're essential.
right.
Yes, this is an essential service. You're correct.
I mean,
I don't know
when
when the thing
minister's doing in Barry anyway. Like,
right.
hey guys, should we try to get some more power to do stuff? Nah.
Power the essential podcast.
Speaking of the area, in that area being Canada, Jonathan shared a photo on his stories on Instagram. It was a picture of a dog on a moose's back crossing a river, and I said to him immediately, "This should be the Canadian flag." Because it's the most odd thing. And John's caption was, "Here's a picture of a dog on a moose back going across a river," and no other explanation.
I think the caption actually was, "This is a picture of a dog riding a moose that I thought you'd want to see."
Right. And I did. Ironically, I did want to see it. I didn't know that I wanted to see it.
What's content? I mean, why not have fun with what you do? Why does everything have to be so serious? Like, that was a pretty funny picture.
Was that a stock photo? Something?
Yeah, I was on Reddit. It was.
Okay.
I was just on Reddit one night. And I found it.
On Reddit.
And I kept it in my swipe file.
Right. It's
And
it's given us so much. Reddit's the gift that keeps on giving. I thought Jonathan was like on Canadian Google or something, and that's what pops up. If you Google Canada.
I removed anything that anybody could like figure out who I am on my Reddit account. I used to have my name and I removed all defining characteristics of myself because I was like, I just don't. I'm on Reddit. I want to be. Well, I mean, you know who I am. You know what my username is. But I'm like, I'm on Reddit.
For who I am.
No, I want to be able to be a jerk to everybody anonymously because that's what Reddit was made for.
That's what it boils down to.
That's what it's for. So,
just a regular troll.
We're about 30 minutes in now. I don't know, 15, 12 minutes in. This is probably time for the break in the podcast. Oh, there's no break again. I forgot. If you can hear the sound of paper across your speakers, this is the list of possible onlinetrainer.com/ for printing these things, Amber.
Is there a cat somewhere? I hear a cat.
Yeah, I got the cat replaced the donkey.
Oh, thank you.
Jonathan's in a Mexican wildlife preserve. So we're going to talk about
happened on the team call last week.
What did happen?
In the middle of our once a week we have like an all hands team call just to catch everybody up with what everybody else is doing, and an iguana fell like 15 feet right in front of me onto the roof. I was like, "Oh!" I was talking, scary. And it took me like 2 minutes of 10 people's times, 11 people's time that I just completely wasted because I could not compose myself after seeing this iguana take a tumble.
It's what they do. So the iguana is like the squirrel of Mexico, I think.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation as a Southerner. So we wanted to talk about mindset today, right? That's still the topic. I saw the topic, and we all commented today in our Slack. Oh, that's right, Jonathan. And we you can't get all of us. All of us will never comment on that question. Like it's never going to happen. And I think after you see the other 3 people talk about it, you feel obligated to not comment. I
was like, the job's done. I got nothing else to do.
It's been worked out. Like you don't need my contribution. Although Keto's nice enough to leave hers after things have been decided frequently.
Correct.
But you jumped in there today, Keto, with all caps, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
To make sure we didn't miss your comment, which is a brilliant comment. But we wanted to talk about sort of mindset. Should I set this stage? Do I need to set the scene? Okay, all right. Everybody's shaking their head.
Like what? Yeah, like what type of mindset?
So as a mentor in the academy, I get to talk to coaches all the time, and we talk about lots of things, the techniques of online training and advertising and marketing. But one thing that we run across quite often is sort of the mindset that behind what it's like psychologically to deal with entrepreneurship, and this particular type of entrepreneurship being an online fitness professional, when you are when you're operating in a sea of other people that you sort of know pretty well. Like we all, as students and grads, we all sort of have large amounts of contact with each other, so we get to see each other's challenges, but we also get to see each other's successes, which in some cases can cause us to have personal challenges with the other people's success. So just the mindset of what other people are doing around you and how that can affect you, sometimes in a negative way, and the psychology of maintaining a level of positivity. And we're going to insert a positive title into this podcast, according to Amber, at some point when you see it. Jonathan, you looks like you have something on your mind. You rolled your eyes back in your head and sat up straight.
Right. I guess I was trying to make sense of it myself, what we're talking about. As you were talking. So I feel like I kind of did, which is why I sat up straight and paid attention.
Nice.
Like a good
Very
student.
nice, Jonathan.
I like the cat's on the chair
for you.
right on the other side of me now. Can you hear it?
Yes, I hear the cat.
Yeah. There it is. I don't know if it's a male or female. I gotta check after. I think what we're talking about. I think what we're talking about is basically comparison, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Kind of, sort of. Sorry.
Ren, keep it together. Ren.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, the quote card just presented itself for the week. I don't know if it's a male or female. I'm going to check after.
That's like, what is it, the movie Meet the Fockers, where
I've got nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
We're back on the topic of nipples. See, full circle. Full circle.
Mindset and nipples.
We have not continuity on this broadcast.
I think what you guys are talking about is comparison. Is it not? I mean, that's kind of the mindset. Like, oh, this person has this thing or this business, or seems like they have this business that I want. Why don't I have it yet? Or I'm doing this work, I deserve it. Like, is that kind of it?
Yes, that was pretty much the conversation that I had with the student that I was speaking with.
So tell me about the conversation. Like, what did they approach you?
Really enamored with something. Like, Cat's got a lot of things on his mind. So here's the structure of the conversation was, I'm doing the things, and when I talk to coaches, they tell me I'm doing all the right things, but don't tell me I'm doing all the right things, because I'm tired of hearing people telling me that I'm doing all the right things. And what should I really be doing? And it's not working. But it is working, but it's not working fast enough. That's sort of the context of the conversation. And I felt that, like I felt it in my, like, I get it. And I don't think that all the students get how much we get that. And we did a show where we talked about the things that we've messed up in the past, the errors that we've made. But what I expressed to the person was, I'm trying not to gender identify. What I expressed to the person was, that's going to fail in this. Yeah,
what I expressed to it.
All right. I'll go with they. What I expressed to they was that I'm fortunate that when I started online training, I had never heard of the Online Trainer Academy. It didn't exist at that point. I think 1K Extra was out, but I was totally unfamiliar with Jonathan Goodman at that point. Summer of 2014, I had my first online client. I was making it up as I went along. So the detriment is I had no great information. The positive was I had nobody to compare anything to. Like, I didn't know that Jonathan Goodman wrote 11 books. Like, I didn't know Amber Reynolds had a great welcome kit. I didn't know that Carolina reached the level of bikini wearing that I would never reach in the course of my adult life. So I had nothing to compare to. So it allowed me just to put my head down and do the work, right? I was doing the work for the work's sake. But now, oh man, we got stories. and people and varying levels of success and mentors and coaches and lions and tigers. Oh my! Like, so that was sort of what I expressed in that context. It's hard. It really is challenging to put the blinders on when you're immersed in a community of what you may perceive to be successful people. That's sort of where I went into the conversation. And then from that point, I really just listened the rest of the conversation. Student felt better by the end. Thanks so much for listening. I just need to get it out of my chest. Hey, no problem. I got you. And we moved on from there. Me and they.
Yeah, I can
so Amber,
relate.
You want to talk about this? Because we spoke about this basically this morning.
So I think it's interesting because there's a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors that students get into. And often that will look like, okay, such and such coach says I have to do X, Y, and Z. So they take on X, Y, and Z. Or they purchase X software because this other coach is doing it. Or this coach is charging whatever amount they must be working. But almost every conversation that we have with students is we have to remind them, how do you know
Right.
that they know what they're talking about? Like, how do you know that they're successful, and define what success is? Because their version of success may be totally different. I don't want to, I mean, if I have to work 60 hours a week to make $100,000 a year, that's not success to me. That sounds awful. Success to me means having more time off so I can do other things and, hang out with my kid. Like, that's success to me. So we often self-sabotage by indulging in these behaviors. So I think that's kind of the direction we're going here.
I have a thing that I can share.
What's your thing?
So my thing is that, guys, this is actually something, and this is for real, this is something that I have very legitimately explored deeply in my own therapy. And I am more than happy to share what I have learned about this, because it's like an actual thing that so many of us experience. And I don't know, maybe my whole journey here is that I go to therapy so that you don't have to. Like, I'm saving you the bucks here. I don't know. Like,
I feel therapied through your therapy. Therapied.
Yeah. So what I have learned, like, you guys don't even know this, but for example, when Ren and I were studying level 2, there was a moment there, and I remember it so clearly. I had a full-blown meltdown. And I mean, I crumbled to the ground in a way that I cannot express to you. And it was all based on comparison, because I could see everybody else finishing faster, doing better, getting better results, charging more. So like all these things that in my own vision, I was far from accomplishing for myself. And it completely knocked me down. Like I was very close to entirely quitting, except I would never allow myself to do that because my pride, I think, overrides that part. But it was so bad that I was like, okay, so this is telling me something. If the emotions are this strong and it's really knocking me down, like this is something worth exploring. And I did. And so what I found out is that, and this is a theory within psychology, we all have inner voices that kind of guide a little bit how we operate in life. And so, for example, for me and for the people who experience this kind of the situation very strongly, that voice that becomes imperative in that moment is the inner critic. It's that little voice telling you, see, you suck, you're not doing enough, you're lazy, see, everybody else is doing it except for you. And all of that stems from things that we were taught about ourselves, obviously, when we were younger. I struggled in school, so that critical voice was always there for me, from my mom, who was a teacher, from my dad, who was an accomplished lawyer, from my teachers who couldn't understand why I just couldn't grasp onto things as easily as my classmates. So that voice stays with you, and it's not your fault. But the moment that you start identifying it, that is a freaking game changer, because with awareness comes the potential for change.
100%. That's such a valid set of points. Thanks so much for that's it's so important on so many levels to realize that. I remember that first cohort of OTA level 2, because if I'm not mistaken, and Jonathan, you can correct me when you finish this level of Candy Crush, Benjamin Ben had a challenge too, Benjamin Mudge, as we were going through that. And if you guys are familiar with Benjamin Mudge, awesome guy, like
Oh
top
yeah.
top 5 human you could meet in your lifetime. Let's just start there. Knowledgeable, guy's literally built like a Marvel superhero. So he sometimes pretends to be a Marvel superhero. But I remember him having challenges in the midst of that, and sort of the organization sort of helping him define what his niche was, how he was going to separate his two very successful programs now. Jonathan, will you speak to that? Yeah, it was hard.
It was hard for him. He struggled a lot in the beginning, and then he worked at it, and it was kind of bubbling underneath the surface. And then when it finally clicked for him, it's like, oh, he made 40,000 pounds on a launch.
Right.
That's British pounds, so that's what, 55,000 US or something on
Right.
a launch, and he's repeated it basically
Several
every time since then.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times now, 5 or 6, but he keeps repeating it. But he just kind of needed to like get over some internal crap that was inside. I think it's just really important to reset your expectations for your business. And was it Amber or Carolina? I'm sorry, I keep getting you two mixed up.
Yes,
I'm kidding,
the
I'm
women.
kidding.
One of the women.
I don't
know.
remember. I don't remember which one of you said it. You both made good points, but one of you spoke about how like you don't know what somebody else is doing, you don't know how they're doing. And I think that point is really important. You don't know what game they're playing. You don't know why they're playing the game. I've been looking a lot into investment and wealth management in the last year, so I relate a lot of stuff to money management these days. And so it's just like, you don't take investment advice if you are a long-term investor from a day trader, right? Like, it's not that they don't know what they're talking about. It's simply that they're just playing a different game than you. It's a completely different game with completely different ideal outcomes and goals. And so it's really important. This is something we do a ton with the Online Trainer Academy, which, by the way, is the leading industry resource for online trainers. If you want to go to onlinetrainer.com/academy, you can find out all of the information. Join us today. We will take great care of you. That's onlinetrainer.com/academy. One of the things that we really do there is help you figure out what you want to do with this thing. Because, like, to me, that comes first, right? To Amber's point, like, I want to have time with my family. Sure, more money is better, but more money at the cost of not being able to do the things, which is the reason that I initially wanted to make more money in the first place.
Right.
Is not worth it. So it might be for you, right? I have friends, and there are even people in our industry that are like, if I'm not a billionaire, I'm a failure. If I'm not a multi-millionaire, then I'm a failure. It's like, that's totally cool. That's the game that you want to play. And whenever you're playing a game, one of the most important things is you have to assess the price of success at various levels and decide whether or not you want to pay it.
Right.
And that comes first, right? And if you do want to pay it and don't even think about it. Like, do it. Like, this is not me saying that one is better than the other. Hell no. But knowing which one you want is really important, because then you don't compare to people who have stuff you don't have. We spoke about this, I think, in an earlier episode. It's the funniest thing ever. It's like people who are in different industries than me, you know. I'm in a lot of like business groups and particularly business groups of people outside of the fitness industry, because I just think you learn a lot from people outside of your industry, perhaps more than you ever would inside. And it's always interesting because some of them are doing like really well. It's like, oh, this person like sold their business. It's like, oh, I'm so jealous of them. Oh, I should be getting these accolades. Oh, I should be doing this. Well, their life was miserable for the last 10 years. They're divorced from their significant other, estranged from their 2 children. Like, that's, I mean, whether or not they knew that that was the price that they were paying I'm not sure. But, like, I don't even want to be in their industry. They're selling widgets. I'm selling preventative health. Like, sorry, you know, I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. But it's easy to compare yourself if you haven't done that work beforehand. Right. And then the other thing is, it's like, when you're doing the right things, anything worth having is hard to have.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing the right things, even if you know you're doing the right things and there isn't an immediate reward, it's really easy to second guess what those things are.
Yes. Yes. That was a deep subject of our conversation that I had with this particular student or grad. I don't know if grad or student, but yeah, people keep telling me I'm doing, like, there was a deep sense of frustration for that verbiage. People keep telling me I'm doing the right thing and it's going to work out. But I just don't want to, like, I literally don't want to hear that again from another person. And of course I said, well, you're doing the right thing. It's going to, just provide some annoyance.
So here's what you say. Here's what Alex and Amber kind of always say to the students that are mentored in the Online Trainer Academy. And it's like, I'm going to relate things back to you in a way that you'll understand.
Right.
What if a client came to you and said what you're saying to me now? I've been doing this for a month, and I know it's the right thing, but I just expect better results than what I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them? What's the advice you would give to them? What would you say to a client that's been doing all the right thing but hasn't seen the results that they want? What would you say to a client who comes to you and says that they feel like giving up and it's been 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? Because you probably get really frustrated. You probably say to them exactly what I would say to you right now. So I don't even need to say it.
You know what you would say. Like, it's not, I don't think that before I got the opportunity to be a mentor, where I was talking to other coaches as much, I don't think that I ever understood the correlation between, it's the exact same thing. I'm not even going to use, no need in using a bunch of words. It's the exact same thing. The exact same process you go through with helping somebody with their fitness is not a whole lot different in business. Like, it's the exact, talk about repetitions, talk about having a plan up front. You're talking about allowing the results to come, not quit. Like, it's really all the same stuff that you would say in a gym environment, especially from an entrepreneurship perspective. One thing that I talk about sometimes with coaches and clients too, I believe it's Goodhart's law, HEARTS. It's an economic law, and I believe what the law says is when a measurement becomes a goal, it ceases to be a good measurement. I use it in terms of weight. So I always use the analogy of the office pool, right? You've got the January office pool, weight loss challenge at the office. Our goal is how many pounds you lose. Well, weight loss can be a measure of health. It's not the measure, but it can be. But when you turn it to a goal, you know what happens? People in the office start drinking diarrhea tea. I'm going to win this January, Judy. I'm not eating lunch for the whole 30 days. Like, they start doing batshit crazy stuff because you've taken a measure and you've made it a goal. Like, your income, the amount of clients that you have, that's a measure of success in this business. But it shouldn't be the entire goal in and of itself. And when you take the goal of actually interacting with people, helping them to unleash their best potential as a coach, when you swipe that goal away and you put in the goal of, I need to get X amount of dollars, because Keto did. No, Keto had a $2,300 launch. I think that's what you said, Keto. And she did a fit the dress thing, something like that. You made a couple bucks. You made a couple, $2,000, $2,000, my goal is to have a welcome kit as good as Amber's, and she does the hot mess thing. That's what I'm going to do. But the women didn't respond to my hot mess one like they did Amber's. Like, when you take your goal, when you're fixated on some end result and you take your concentration away from what you actually do. your purpose, which is empowering the people that you work with, serving them in a way that they have the most incredible experience they have ever had. Whether it's 20 people like Ben Mudge a month or it's 2. If you got 2 clients, they better have the best client experience that 2 clients have ever had in the history of mankind. And I think when you shift away from that, not only do you prevent yourself from getting more clients, you lose the ones that you have because you're underserving them. That's sort of my 2 cents on the subject. I don't think I can complain about these types of things when my mindset is fixated on helping the people that I'm serving. It's when I get distracted from that all these other things start to come to my mind because I'm focused on something else that I shouldn't be focused on.
So
that's what
to add to that too, something to keep in mind is where are you starting, right? Everyone is equally capable, but not everyone is starting in the same spot.
Right.
Or have the same talents. Like, don't try because, Carolina is fantastic at crafting fun, silly messages. That may not be my thing. So I'm not going to do what Carolina does because that's not my thing. But I am really good at memes. And so maybe that's what I do. Like, you have to lean into what you're good at and remember where you're starting from. Some people naturally start with a big network, for example. And so when they do find, they've accidentally made themselves an authority because they naturally share. Then for our introverts who tend not to share, you have a bigger hill to climb, which is okay. But you're starting at a different spot. So when you have to build that authority and get used to posting on a consistent basis, it's going to take you a little bit longer. That's what I had to do. I used to delete people every 6 months. If I hadn't talked to you in 6 months, I deleted you because obviously we're not friends because we haven't talked. So I had to build my network. I was shy about posting. So I had a bigger hill to climb. Equally capable. It just took me a little bit longer because I was starting back a little further. So keep that in mind when you're comparing yourself to someone else. They may have been already doing these things kind of subconsciously or just leaning into their talents. And you just can't really tell where they started from. So,
100%. Keto, were you about to? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I have another point that I kind of like want to highlight here is that for those of us who for whose inner critic really tends to like ramp up whenever you feel like you're quote unquote failing. One important thing to keep in mind is that that's actually your brain trying to protect you. And it's doing it through a faulty way, and that's where you get to catch it and kind of like trying to course correct. But it's a way of protecting you from those feelings of shame that come attached to feeling like you're not good enough, not worthy enough, not doing well enough, and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of like very complicated and complex emotions attached to all of this. And really the antidote to it is noticing and naming, and that's what we do for a lot of clients, even in their diets, right? Like when they want to go on a binge and emotional eat, it's like, okay, that's fine, you can do that. Just for a few moments before that, you're going to sit and you're going to notice what you're feeling and you're going to call it by its name out loud. And so this is again, like the parallels between what we do with our clients and what we do with our business is just right there, right? So same here, whenever you feel that awful comparison of beating yourself up because you're, all this, the inner critic is going hard at you, you sit and you're like, oh, I notice a name. It's the inner critic. This is what it's telling me. I'm not good enough. I'm not making enough money. I'm too lazy. And all this, I'm feeling shame. I'm feeling frustration. I'm feeling anger towards myself. Call it by its name. Just allow it to exist without judgment, because that alone changes the entire dynamic of how you respond to it. You no longer go down that vortex of awfulness, of really ending up in a puddle of tears on the floor like I did. So like to avoid that, take that step, notice and name what it is that you're feeling, call it by its name, and then allow for the process to continue. It's not a big deal. You got this.
100%. I love that because that's the old PN coaching mantra. Precision nutrition, resting with the discomfort and noticing and naming can save you a lot of headaches in life. not only in your nutrition, not only in your business, in life, because there's always a solution. I love what Amber said about the fact that we don't. we can't expect the same things because we truly don't all start in the same place. You know, those personality differences, they mean something. I can do the same workout as Jonathan and my calves are not going to explode like his do. It's just not going to happen. It's not an issue of the work that I'm doing. There's something in everybody that somebody doesn't have. The problem is you get distracted from what you have when you're always focused on what you don't. Everybody has a unique skill set that lends itself to being successful in what we do. But if you're always chasing somebody else's, man, you never figure out what yours is. You never figure it out. Jonathan looks like he has some thoughts, or you're bird watching one or the other. Are the iguanas falling again, Jonathan?
I saw one jump just a few minutes ago. But...
the Mexican squirrels.
Yeah, I saw one.
By the way, Ren, that picture that he posted of the moose with the dog, that is the Canadian version of the internet donkey. In Canada, it's the Wi-Fi moose. Just so you know, that's how it works.
The Wi-Fi moose just passed by. I'm losing signal. Oh, it's in the water. It's in the water. Give me a second. Let this moose cross the stream. Okay, it's across. Go ahead. Can you hear me now?
The only thing that I'll add is when, if you want, I can sell you my ebook on calf development.
Oh man, I spent all my money on a James Clear calendar, so I'm not able to purchase anything right now.
Oh, snap.
It's called James Clear through the years. It's on. I got an autograph.
Can I tell the listeners how much Amber trolled me? Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Please do, because I saw it and it made my entire day.
So we're coming out with version 4 of the Online Trainer Academy, and it is by far the most ambitious revision we've done, and it is so good. It's so good, and it meets everybody where they're at. It's interesting because we actually made the Online Trainer Academy shorter. Like, we removed material. We didn't add material for version 4. We added personalization. So when you go in, there's going to be like a custom study plan that's developed for you based off of a few questions that you answer. You're not everybody should go through like chapter 1 to the end, right?
Right.
And so the textbook went through a major revision as well, and then there's a lot of just like really cool stuff. Probably right now when this episode's coming out, actually the wait list will be out for it because we're shutting down enrollment for just like 2.5-3 weeks while we make all the updates, and then we're doing a wait list and then launching version 4. So make sure you get on the wait list. It's onlinetrainer.com/academy because it's killer.
Nice.
But the new textbook, so of course, 10 staff members, over 400 hours put into this thing to date, right? It'll be about 450, probably more than 450 hours by the time we're done. And I get the textbook for the final revision before it goes to print, the next version of the textbook. And I'm going through it like line by line. And I'm like, these guys knocked this out of the park. And Amber led the project, so it's like Amber and her team knocked this out of the park. Man, this is incredible. And then I get to one page. And Amber put for like a quarter of the page an image with a goddamn James Clear quote. And she knew I was going to find it. And she knew the reaction that I was going to get. And at this point, there's nothing I can do about it.
Roll to print, baby. Roll to print.
So now I'm complicit in the proliferation of James Clear's reputation. Something I've tried really hard to avoid.
It's easily a quarter of the page. I mean, that thing, it really pops out at you when you look at it. Like,
I hope it helps him sell at least 1 million more copies of his book.
Right.
His one book that he sold, give or take 300 times more copies of than I've sold of all my 11 put together. I hope it continues to do well for him.
Oh, that's good stuff. Starting at just $87 a month for 12 months. The Online Trainer Academy is the smartest career investment you'll ever make. Now featuring James Clear quotes. Apply today. There you go, Jonathan. I hear those sales humming. I think. Oh my gosh, I got a counter here on my computer. After that mention, there's 25 pre-saled already. You're welcome, Jonathan. Good job, Amber. You know what really attracts the students that love online training. So, anybody got any final thoughts to wrap this thing up? All right, okay. So hopefully this episode will help you guys with that inner critic. As Keto was saying, she called it out. She gave you a strategy for what to do. Amber gave you great information about realizing where you're starting specifically, because it's not going to be the same place. We probably don't have any two students that ever started in the same place exactly. Mm-hmm. So we all sort of got to find our way. You know, and Jonathan, helped us out with this episode by making sure that no iguanas fell from trees above his head, and give us some great audio of El Gato. Over there. He'll be doing a gender check within 5 minutes of us terminating this podcast. Good luck there, Jonathan. Let us know if you need the tools cleaned. Run that stuff through the dishwasher first. So we'll see you next time here on the Online Trainer Show. Show notes can be found at onlinetrainer.com/podcast. Don't hesitate to give us a review. And remember, man, everybody's an individual here. But if you keep going, utilize what we've given you, you're gonna have success. It comes to different people at different times, but it always arrives. You're either gonna succeed or you're gonna quit. You're gonna succeed in your endeavor here, or you're gonna quit contacting people every day. You're gonna succeed in building your business, or you're gonna decide that the inner critic wins. You're gonna succeed in helping people, or you're gonna decide it's more important to compare yourself to others and quit focusing on the clients. You'll either succeed or you'll quit. We don't want you to quit. And if you don't do that, we know you're going to succeed. Jingle, jingle, jingle.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show.
We shouldn't have a podcast.